Welcome to the weekend. I'm Jon Caldara. You're watching Devil's Advocate. I run a little organization called the Independence Institute. You know, check us out sometime. Go to independenceinstitute.org. We've got a couple hot primary races, and I think the best one is running now for the Senate. On the Democratic side, you've got Romanoff and Bennett, and on the Republican side, Jane Norton and this man, Ken Buck. We're going to get to all these candidates over time. Ken, thank you for joining us.
You betcha.
All right, just so people who don't know you, and that's pretty much everyone, because you're the DA in Weld County. We were just talking a little bit off air. It's changed now. It used to be that a politician needed to do all of their legwork. You become a city council member, a school board member, you go to the state house, a state senate, you run for U.S. House, and then maybe you run for the Senate. We've got a senator who's never run for anything. You've run for DA twice. What does it say about this, the new way? Is the old way better?
Well, I don't think the old way got us a whole lot of good elected officials. I think it got us a lot of bad policies, in fact. And I think now what we're looking at is a group of people that are sort of outside the establishment. At least two of the candidates, Andrew Romanoff and myself, are what most people are considered sort of grassroots, outside the establishment candidates, and I think time will tell whether it's going to be a better system or not. But I don't know that the legwork that people put in really prepared them for the policy issues as much as the political issues.
Talk to me a little bit about the dynamics in this race, because I hate to see good Republicans beat each other up. Love to see Democrats beat each other up in primaries, but this one's my team, and I like Jane, and I like you. I see you both have great talents. I think you both would represent Colorado pretty well. Talk to me about the dynamic here. Why do we have this now heating up primary? This is not going to be a cool primary. I have a feeling this has changed from this is anyone's ball at this point.
Well, as you know Jane, I've also known Jane for years. Her husband Mike hired me at the U.S. Attorney's Office, and we have exchanged Christmas cards for years, and we've been friends. I've seen her socially for years, and I have a lot of respect for Mike and Jane, and so it's not easy to run against a friend, and I will do my very best to maintain a positive campaign, and I'm sure that she will do the same. At some point, you contrast yourself with your opponent, and through that process, hopefully educate the voters on what the differences are.
Now, there was a time when you were thinking about exiting this race. It looked as though you might exit, you might actually endorse your friend Jane Norton. It looked as though she was unbeatable in this one, that this was hers. What changed your mind? Why did you stay in?
You know, I pushed pause on the VCR, and
watch out, people under 25 don't know what a VCR is any longer.
But we did. I took a look at it for about 4 or 5 days to decide what I wanted to do, and I decided, and I got a lot of feedback during that time. The word got out pretty early that I was not going to stay in the race. I got hundreds of emails, I got lots of phone calls, and people were adamant that I stay in, and they wanted a choice in this race, a choice between someone that really has run a top-down campaign, someone that had all the endorsements at the beginning, and I started this campaign going to all 64 counties, listening to people, and really building a bottom-up campaign. And I think those folks wanted to make sure that their voice would be heard, and so I stayed in.
Jane Norton decided to get onto the ballot through the petition process. This is nothing new. You can do that. You decided to go on through the caucus process, or the assembly, where you won 70-something% of the vote there, I forget.
77%. Yeah.
All right, so that means you chased off all the other candidates who are also going through the primary process. It also gives you a top line in this August primary. Was that important for you, or did you just not have the money for the petitions?
You know, John, you say it's not unusual. I don't know if there has been another candidate in a statewide election that has petitioned on to the ballot. There may have been. I can't think of any right now. So it certainly is unusual in the sense that most of the candidates that petition on, now Walker Stapleton is running for treasurer, and he has petitioned on this time, but it is unusual in the sense that most candidates do go through the assembly process. And the key to the assembly process is you build this base of support around the state. You get folks in all the counties that are willing to volunteer for you, that are willing to walk neighborhoods and make phone calls and generate enthusiasm. And that's really the key, and it's why I think our caucus system is so strong in the state. It really prepares the candidate to run against the Democrat in the general election.
Let's get into the meat of this. I want a Republican who's going to be able to win in the fall. And I'm suspecting, and I imagine you are too, that the incumbent will likely win their primary. I think Bennett will win that primary. Do you think so? Let's start there.
That'd be my guess, yeah.
All right, and it's nothing about Romanoff. Romanoff is an amazing campaigner, a remarkable guy, real grassroots organizer. He just doesn't have the money. He's going up against an incumbent that has the endorsement of the sitting governor, the Democratic candidate for governor, Hickenlooper, and, by the way, President Obama. That's a tough thing to go across. All right. So as a Republican, I need somebody who can win that. Tell me why you're going to be able to win that, and not somebody who, I hate to break this to you, is a whole lot more physically attractive than you are.
Well, I appreciate you making note of that, John.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this. Where has electability gotten you in the past? You know what? There have been plenty of people that were electable that go back to D.C. and what do they do?
You can't change anything if you don't get elected.
No, that's absolutely right. But at the same time, Republicans have tried to guess who the best candidate is going to be and not who is going to support the conservative views in the United States Congress or Senate. And for far too long, we have sent Republicans back to D.C. and they have not walked the walk that they have talked about on the campaign trail.
Okay, what makes you think that Jane Norton, your opponent, would be one of those? And there's nobody in Colorado that has spouted off about the betrayals of Republicans more than I. I've been frustrated by the Republican Party. I think there's nothing more frustrating than hearing a guy talk like a Republican and then vote like a moderate or a Democrat. What makes you think Jane Norton is going to disappoint me if she gets into office? Here's a woman who I think is pretty conservative. I've known her for a while. You've known her for a while. You've worked with her husband. She signed a no-tax pledge back in October, well before I even asked her to do so. Why would I be disappointed?
Did she sign a no-tax pledge before Referendum C, John? When she supported Referendum C? Because that's what she did. I mean, we talk about walking the walk. We talk about being fiscal conservatives, and Jane Norton was a proponent of the largest tax increase in the history of the state of Colorado. And now, when she's running for office, signs a no-tax pledge. The grassroots get it. They understand that that's an inconsistency.
What would you have a lieutenant governor do when the governor has decided to sign on to this betrayal of his tax pledge and signed on to this tax increase? What would you have had Lieutenant Governor Jane Norton do in that situation?
I think you've got to pick the team that you're on really carefully. And when you pick a team that is comprised of people that are going to raise taxes, you've got to live with it at that point. But I think you pick the team very carefully before you sign on.
Oh, you voted for Bill Owens, I'm assuming.
I voted for John McCain, too, but it's based on the choices that you have at the time.
So, but given the point in time, are you saying that Jane Norton should not have accepted the LG spot?
I'm saying that your choice is that you either betray your principles or you betray your boss, and that's the choice that Jane Norton had to make.
And she made the wrong one in your estimation.
Well, I was not in favor of Ref C. I'm not in favor of it today, and I think that if you decide that you're going to be a tax raiser, then you can't run a few years later and pledge to be a non-tax raiser.
All right, but give me some differences on issues. Help me understand that. Because I listen to both of you, and I know both of you. I hear a lot of the same stuff. We understand the importance of this election. This election has to do with, more than anything else, being able to filibuster bad ideas in the United States Senate. That if we had this seat, Obamacare would not have happened. So this seat is crucial to offset what's going on in D.C. Tell me what vote you think might be different between you and Jane as senators.